Thank you, Rahul, for being here with us. Some few tech
Pleasure.
errors, but we see we're live. So, but everything takes a little bit of setup, especially when you're doing Facebook Live from home. So it's all good. Everyone knows now that there's technicalities at play. But it's a pleasure to have you here with us, Rahul. Thank you again for joining the Being Yoga Festival, for taking out time
Pleasure.
from your schedule. And I know even though we're all at home, you've been doing a lot of different things and keeping yourself, you're very busy as usual. So again, we really appreciate it. So Rahul, the intention of this festival is to raise funds for migrant workers through Gunj, people who have been appended from their homes, who survive on daily wages and haven't been getting them. So we'll be distributing these funds to migrant laborers all across India. Now, my first question for you is, why is it important to give? You've been involved in a lot of charity work for a while, and you're a pretty busy person. You have an acting career, you have a foundation, you do a multitude of, you're very involved with rugby as well. So, but you still take out so much time for charity work. So I want you to tell all our viewers today, and we have about close to 1 million people watching this via our various media partners. Why is it important to give? And what does giving give to you?
Well, first of all, I think that I don't think it's a judgment on someone who doesn't give. I think it's enough for most people to do their jobs with integrity and excellence and to not harm people. I think there are some universal human values that are unconditionally should be accepted: nonviolence, peace, inclusiveness, compassion. So if you have all of those qualities and you do what you do uh, professionally with integrity and with joy, I think that's enough. But if you do feel a kind of
Yeah.
restlessness or a sense of emptiness, and you feel that no, you would like to do more, only once you feel that is it worthwhile asking someone to give. That impulse has to come from within. When it comes to giving, I find that the easiest way to give is to a cause that you are maybe even unconsciously, emotionally very tied to. For example, Ira, if I say to you, will you give for the cause of stray dogs? And you'll say, of course I will, Rahul, because I'm a naturally compassionate person. It's not that I, it's not top foremost in my mind to give for stray dogs, but I certainly will. But if I say, Ira, will you give for the cause of cancer? And say a very, very close friend of yours has died of cancer last year, chances are that your emotional response to that will be 10 times more because it is something so close to home, so close to your heart, so close to the umbrella of pain that you carry inside. So you have to choose the one or two uh, kinds of human pain that really move you. And invariably, if you look deep inside you, you'll find them. So once you've found that, then that the emotional well of wanting to do something for that uh, becomes boundless. It also becomes very, very easy to give for that cause. Then it comes to, okay, now that I want to give, what can I give? And I always say there are three things human beings can give: your time, your skill, or your money, or a combination of all three. Let us say you're very poor and you spend your whole life trying very hard to keep your family alive. But you're just a lovely singer. You sing beautifully. So that's where you can give. That's how you can give. Or if you have lots of money and you actually don't have any time, nor do you have any skill, well, then give us your money. The third question then down the flow chart of giving is how much? And I always say giving should be completely effortless, at least in the beginning. So I always say, if Ira was rushing for a very, very important yoga class that she was conducting with 500 people across the world, and she was very, very late, and she had to get there on time, and she got off the bus or the subway or the train or the car, and she was running to the studio, and some money slips out of her pocket. What is that amount of money that slips out of Ira's pocket that she will look at and say, forget it, it doesn't matter, I'm going to keep running? Is it 1 rupee? Is it 50 paisa? Is it 2 rupees? Whatever that amount is, that's the amount of time, skill, or money you should be giving. Because that is stuff
That's a
that you can
wonderful example.
completely give.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can completely give without
I love
ever
that.
having it hurt you. So the first step of giving is find your umbra of pain and give only the amount that. Can you sing to the visually challenged for 8 hours a day? And this poor person is going to say, no, I can't because I provide for my whole family. But what if I ask her, can you sing for 8 hours a year? Give us 2 minutes a day. And she'll say with pleasure. So that's what I mean by making it very, very easy to give. And once people start giving, now it comes to the second question you asked me. Once you start giving, when you realize that you have made a difference, that you have lessened the pain in this universe, infinitesimally so it may be, but you have, that fills you with so much pleasure. That fills you with a real validation of the fact that you are worth something on this earth outside of what you do normally. Then it becomes a virtuous cycle. Then you just can't stop giving more and more.
Thank you, Rahul. That's so wonderful. I love the analogy of what is that amount that you're just not going to miss very much. You know, it's like if you buy one more thing and put it in your closet, you know, and if you didn't buy that instead and gave it off to someone, then what would that mean? So I love that example. Thank you so much for sharing with that. That said, guys, there's a fundraiser button at the bottom of this chat. You can feel free to donate as much as you like or as much as you don't like. We'd appreciate it. There's also via the website, beingyogafestival.org. And now, Rahul, coming to wellness, you know, I know that you are someone who works out regularly 3 hours a day. You know, you've been a professional rugby player, you're an actor, and keeping your body looking good, feeling good. You work really, really long hours sometimes when you're on set. And now you're in Mumbai, there's a lockdown, and you can't even leave your apartment. You know, Mumbai is especially very, very strict. So, how have you been keeping well? You have no gym, you have no grounds to do any sort of sport. So, how have you been keeping well?
So there are two parts to this answer. One is the mental, which you'll appreciate a lot, Ira. And the second is the physical, which is kind of easy. Let's go for the mental first. When you're in a lockdown situation and there's a pandemic raging across the world, there are two worries: death and destitution. Let's take destitution first. Can I provide for my family? Will I be able to put food on the table for the next 6 months? Let's say. Is it possible that I will have to fend for them for the next 8 or 9 months? Can I put a roof over their heads, etc., etc.? So I always say that to mentally prepare for anything, you should prepare yourself for the worst case scenario. If you are mentally prepared for the worst case scenario, everything else is jam. So let's say the worst case scenario here is 18 months before a vaccine comes out. You have to ask yourself, can I look after my loved ones and myself for 18 months? And if I can't, what do I have to do to make sure it happens? I'll give you an example. I founded 2 NGOs. I know that for the next year, nobody is going to give money to the cause of child sexual abuse or to the cause of children's education. Worst case scenario, because they've given all their money for COVID in financial year April 2020 to March 2021. The worst case scenario. How do I keep my NGOs going for a year? I crunched the numbers. I said, fine, no donations coming in. Cut all salaries by 30% apart from the lower end staff, admin and peons. And give up the office, work from home, and re-crunch the numbers. And sure enough, we've come to a point where both the NGOs can do the sterling work they do, working from home. Everybody's taken a 30% salary cut, barring the admin staff. So that's the way you prepare. You prepare for the worst case scenario. Now, if Ira gives me 5 rupees, or if one of my regular donors gives me the money they were going to give me, it's all wonderful. So mentally, I'm calm and settled about that eventuality. Death is the other problem. Everybody worries about, perhaps not so much about the fact that you're going to die, but the fact that when
You're
you
gonna get
die,
sick.
what will the
Yeah.
people, sorry?
Or that you're gonna get sick. You're gonna catch COVID-19, and what's gonna happen then?
Yes, I mean, I think worst case scenario is always death. I mean, if I die, what will happen to the others around me, etc.
Yeah.
For this, there's a more indirect and there's a more spiritual answer to this. Do not celebrate people's lives once they're dead. Celebrate them when they're alive, and celebrate them today. So to look at every day, to look at your child every day with gratitude, to look at your parents or your spouse or your lover every day with gratitude, or your siblings, and say, I have this. This is in my control. To love, to give boundless love today. Death is not in my control. To try and cure them, to try and help them, I will do everything possible. But ultimately, Ira, we don't have birth and death in our control. So if you can settle spiritually that matter and say, apart from me doing everything I can to keep my loved ones alive and myself, if it doesn't happen, can I at that moment smile and say, it was fantastic till such time as I couldn't do anything about it? And this is this applies outside of the pandemic. To look at life every day and say, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I will give boundlessly. So that's the mental side of it. As I said, physical will sound very ordinary now and prosaic. I mean, for me, it's more important to feel alive. So, okay, I love having the sun on my back. I love training 2.5, 3 hours a day. I'm always on the ground. I don't go to gymnasia. I don't lift weights. I don't pump steroids. I don't have supplements. I don't even have electrolytes. I've always drunk water and been on the ground since the age of 4. And today I don't have a ground to go to. I don't even step out of my building's staircase. So I decided that you can make your world in a 6x6 area, and I have a tiny apartment, and you can use the stairs. So today I climbed 180 floors. That's 30 times up and down my 6-story building.
Wow.
And I meditate while I do that. The Empire State Building is 105 floors. So the other day I did 210 floors, which is twice up and down the Empire State Building. But those are personal little things. And then I have this 6x6
No, those
space
are amazing.
where I do.
Those are amazing. And inspiring.
And then I have
And
my
inspiring.
So the thing is that you don't have to. Rabindranath Tagore said, I can sit in my house and I can visit the world as long as the windows of my heart and my imagination are open. Well, I can sit here and I can train for playing rugby for India again. If I need to, I only need a 6x6 space. I've done it before when I was playing for India and I was shooting the Japanese wife in the Sundarbans, and I had a tiny little room in a jungle lodge in the middle of the forest, and I had a 6x6 space. And as soon as the shooting got over, I had to go straight into the India camp, and I had to train. I trained at 4 o'clock in the morning for 2.5 hours on that 6x6 space, leaping, jumping, sweating, cursing, screaming, and doing all the stuff. But you can. I mean, it's just a matter of setting your mind to it and doing it with joy.
No, absolutely. So, Rahul, are you still maintaining your 2.5 hours of training? So you're going up and down the stairs in the building because you're not allowed to step out, and you're using your 6x6 space to do what? Are you jumping? Are you doing squats? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in your space so we can get
Oh,
inspired and also do a little bit of it ourselves.
I have so many things, Ira. I have about 200 things I can do. I've invented some. I've learned some. Trainers have given me some. I mix and match depending on my mood. It's like a massive buffet of stuff I have in front of me. But today, for example, I did what's called the A to Z workout, which is 26 things that you do. It includes burpees, push-ups, sit-ups, twists, squats, sitting against the wall for your glutes, plank, the Tibetan Lama rites, which I've been doing for 35 years, 5 rites. And so, yeah, that's that. So the walking today, I did 180 floors. That took me 30 into 3, about 105 minutes. And then I came in to the house and I did another maybe 75, 80 minutes. So about 3 hours today. Yeah. About 1,000 calories.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And to do all of this with joy and to visualize that you're in the Empire State Building, now that is really something. That's incredible. And wonderful. You can be anywhere. You can be in your house and be doing yoga and imagine you're on the Himalayas, you know. And that's what it's all about, right? It's about training your mind also as you're training your body. And that's where the joy really comes in. Now, Rahul, tell us about nutrition. What have you been eating? Are you cooking yourself? Are you allowed to have someone come in and cook for you? What is your eating like? How are you maintaining that, even with so much, so much working out, and possibly not getting the kind of things that you normally get?
Well, I don't cook. I don't know how to cook. So I've been ordering in for 50 days. And it's only very, very recently that a friend of mine has insisted that he sends food across from his house, which is 2 lanes away. And he was very upset I hadn't told him about it. I was like, it's not a thing. But I now eat whatever first of all, whatever comes my way. And second, I, I think I eat 6 tiny meals a day. I have 6 bites, and that's. But if I want to have rice, which I normally don't, or if I want to have roti, which I normally don't, or if I want to have a little bit of ghee in my dal, which I normally don't, or if it's so normally when everything's working, I have a very low carbohydrate, lots of dal, lots of veggies, lots of chicken, lots of Indian khana. Um, I'll have upma or halwa to start the morning because rava is very good for me. I've been following Ayurveda for about 30 years, so I know what's good for me, what isn't good for me, and it changes with the seasons. But now, I don't have that luxury. So I
Yeah.
eat. Uh, I'll never forget what my Ayurveda said to me once. He said, my Ayurveda, he said, no matter what I tell you, if you don't get the food, if you don't get rava or you don't get chana in the morning to eat, or if you have to have something spicy and something sour, which is stuff I absolutely avoid for my body type, but you're given only that to eat, accept it. Eat it, accept it. There is something beautiful in all food. So just chill out, be calm, accept it, and your body will accept it. So now I'm very forgiving to myself of what I want to eat and what I can eat and what's available. That's fine. There'll come a time when we'll become finicky about our diets all over again. But now is not the time. Now is the time to be mentally calm, strong, whole, constructive, and supportive.
No, absolutely. And again, for all of our viewers right now, um, just listening to Rahul's story is absolutely amazing. How he's so quickly adapted, right? He's adapted his workouts. He's adapted his diet. He doesn't cook, so he's made do with what he can, and he's happy and he's joyful and he's staying as fit and healthy. And I love what you said about that. This is not the time to be very finicky about things. This is really not the time, But keeping in mind also about Ayurveda, we had a very well-known Ayurvedic doctor who came and gave us tips, very simple tips to execute it. But I think what you also said right now, about what your doctor had said, that accept it. And if you mentally accept it, your body will accept it. There's a definite mind-body connect, and that is so important to remember. The breath, the body, and the mind. When we connect all three of them, it automatically makes us a more joyful, joyful, better person. And when we're more joyful, we spread that joy around us, and that's so, so important. But Rahul, I can speak to you forever, and you know that, but we have questions coming in. So we want to be able to take these. Can you, Shubhangini Kalar is asking about intermittent fasting because you mentioned you eat 6 times a day. Have you tried intermittent fasting, and what are your thoughts on it?
It's absolutely devastatingly bad for me. I
Okay.
have a terrifically high metabolic rate. There's no chance. I mean, I have to eat every 2.5 hours. Not that I even think about it, but I know as soon as I get growly inside, I have to put something in my stomach. It has to be only 6 bites, 6 full mouthfuls. I mean, a burger is six full mouthfuls before anybody starts saying, "Oh God, you're eating like a sparrow." If you have a hamburger, it's 6 full mouthfuls. You can finish a burger. So, intermittent fasting is absolutely ruinous for me. My sister tried it. It was absolutely ruinous for her. She got hyperacidic and she began to, the acid comes up the tract, you begin to get a cough and cold and you get fever, or she went into a cycle of that till I began to explain to her that it wasn't right for her body type. Look, it might work for some people and I know it does.
Yeah.
I just cannot, I just cannot imagine it working for me because I didn't try it. I have to go just 4 or 5 hours without food and, mayhem ensues.
Yeah, no, but that's wonderful to know, right? I mean, intermittent fasting has become a sort of a fad now, and everyone is doing it. But
It
I do
should work
think
for you, Ira.
it should work for you. It should work for you. And I think also Rahul has mentioned a body type many, many times, and that's really important to keep in mind as well, right? What is your lifestyle? Rahul is working out 3 hours a day, which is not what everyone does. Rahul's profession, Rahul's, his past, all of these have prepared him to eat the way that he does. But also he's eating without attachment, which is also wonderful. It's not a real obsession or attachment to what you're eating. It is, after all, food, and you're nourishing your body to buy food to live. You're not nourished, this is not the main and primary focus, right? I think, and that's really, really important to keep in mind, that we eat to live and not live to eat. And that, I think, is very, very important. Manish is asking a question about what is the basic nutrient supply one can prepare at home? So this is a little bit of a confusion question, Manish, if you can clarify, um, but I think he's, I think, trying to
Dal,
ask what, yeah, yeah, dal, you mentioned protein,
it's a protein. It has carbohydrate in it also. If all else fails, a bowl of dal. If
a
all
bowl
else
of dal,
fails.
and that all else fails. So you'll
I mean, I'm
say
saying if
dal,
you have
and
nothing, if you have absolutely
yeah,
nothing, and you just simply have only dal, I would say, I mean, maybe perhaps eggs if you're non-vegetarian. Uh, but I think I mean, yeah, you a well-cooked dal has enough to keep you going.
yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful answer. Another Rahul is asking you, Rahul, you spoke about mental well-being. How do you overcome stress and stay motivated?
What causes you stress? The lack of money, lack of power. I remember somebody on the internet said it's important to stay relevant. And I was like, no, it's not important at all to stay relevant. To stay relevant is to say people, oh, there goes Rahul. He matters to this industry. That means you're all about wanting power. Dalai Lama doesn't care about staying relevant. Mahatma Gandhi didn't care about staying relevant. Mandela wasn't obsessing about relevance when he was in prison. I mean, it's so so stress has caused three things, I think. Drivers of stress. Do I have enough money? Do I have enough fame? Do I have enough power? Apart from that, am I a good human being to my loved ones? So that last one, I think, is the most important thing. If you're a good human being to your loved ones, you know, the universe will bend over backwards to keep you alive. Um, First do that. Then, of course, provide. And look, I'm telling you this, I don't care what you do. I don't I don't believe there's a hierarchy of skills. Like a doctor is more important than somebody who picks the garbage off the streets. What nonsense. We've seen right now how equally important both are. You know,
Yeah,
so-called
yeah.
at each end of the chain. Utter nonsense. So just do what you have to. Put money in your pocket, put food on the plate, keep the home fires burning, put your ego in the back seat. I mean, these are the things that cause stress. So be very frank with yourself. Ask yourself what causes you stress and then tackle that. I think that's most times, most people don't even have the courage to introspect.
No, thank you, Rahul. I think that is a wonderful answer. You've left all of us a lot to think with. And thank you so much for sharing your journey so candidly. It's really, really inspiring for many, many people out there. People's schedules have really gone topsy-turvy. Their routines have gone topsy-turvy. And when they hear from people like you, it makes us all think that it'll be okay. We can do this. So thank you, Rahul, for joining us, and for giving us your time. I promised I would take exactly 30 minutes of your time. So we'll stick to that promise,
Thank
so
you.
we
And
could
I
have
promised
you
I
on
would
for
smile. Did
a
I
long
smile
more.
enough here?
Yes, you smiled. You smiled. I told Rahul before he came, Rahul, please smile. We all need to see people a little bit, smiling a little bit more. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rahul. And he laughed, so that's good. Smiled and laughed both. So thank you, Rahul. And
Lots of love and love for you.
all
Keep up the.
thank you, thank you so much. We've had whoever's asked Rahul good questions is also winning some prizes. So thank you for those questions to all of our viewers. And thank you, Rahul. I'll see you soon. Thank you
Bye,
again for
Ira.
joining
See
us.
you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.